Hello, Ray Wheatley for Fightnews. I'm here with two-time world champion Lovemore Ndou, who was from a select group of boxers, along with Mosley, Floyd, Mayweather and Trout, who all boxed Canelo Alvarez and Miguel Cotto. I'd like to ask Lovemore a few questions about his bouts with both Cotto and Alvarez. First of all, how are you, Lovemore?
Ray, I'm very good, thanks, and thanks for having me on there.
It's good to see you again, mate. You look well, Lovemore. Now, back in 2004, mate, you boxed Miguel Cotto, gave him a very competitive fight, over 12 rounds. Respected judge Dalby Shirley probably had it the most accurate, 115, 113 to Cotto. Can you tell me about that fight and how much preparation you had for that fight?
Ray, I remember that fight like it was yesterday because I was coming off a very controversial loss to Shambe Mitchell when I got that fight. That fight was like, I was given an opportunity to prove to the people that I still had what it takes, or that I was one of the best. I was a good fighter. So I took the fight on 1 week's notice. It was a tough fight. I could say one thing for sure. I tested Cotto's power. He's one strong guy. He can punch really hard. He's a good body puncher. He actually had me to the body in the third round when sort of had my ribs. So I sort of finished the fight with damaged ribs. But it was a good fight.
You had him on the back move in the later rounds. You got him on the back move in the later rounds. Lovemore, did you feel you hurt him during that contest?
I did hurt him a few times, and I think I put a lot of pressure on him. Something that he never really expected from me. Like I said, one other thing you always gotta remember is it was early in Cotto's career. In Korea, Cotto has gone and done a lot of bigger things since that fight. He's won some world titles. He went and beat some really good fighters. So as far as I'm concerned, Cotto is one of the best fighters we have today.
Now, back in 2010, you boxed Canelo Alvarez in Mexico with top corner man Grant Lacusa in your corner. Oscar De La Hoya said some good things to you about after that fight. Could you tell me about your fight with Canelo Alvarez, and what did De La Hoya say to you after the fight?
Look, that fight with Canelo was one fight. It's a fight that happened towards the end of my career. But I should say, Canelo proved to be, a worthy opponent, a great fighter. He's very elusive. He's got great hand speed. He's a good counter puncher. But look, fighting in Mexico, everything was just against me. The crowd was against me. But I gave him a tough fight. And I can remember after the fight, De La Hoya walked up to me and said, he said to me, you remind me of Azuma Nelson. He said, it's true what they say about Africans, that they make you tough over there in Africa.
Well, that's a great compliment and very worthy, I think, from Oscar De La Hoya. Now, Miguel Cotto today is the WBC middleweight champion. Lovemore, he won that title by stopping Sergio Martinez. He's defended it by defeating Daniel Gale just recently. Do you feel Miguel Cotto's got the power to worry Alvarez if he can get on the inside?
Look, like I said before, Cotto is one of the most devastating punchers I've ever been in the ring with. He does have the power to hit anybody, and he's proved it before. He's knocked a lot of good fighters out there, and he's had a lot of good fighters out there. So yes, there is a possibility he could hit Canelo. The thing is whether Canelo will choose to stand in front of him and exchange punches, or whether Canelo will run around and box.
Mate, Cotto's gifted in many different areas, but what do you feel is his best weapon in the ring?
Like I said, he's got a lot of power. He carries power in both hands, but he's a devastating body puncher, and he puts a lot of pressure. So he's got a lot of things working in his favor. And he's a skillful fighter. He's not the kind of person that just walks forward and put pressure, but doesn't, just does it in a careless way. He thinks before he puts pressure, and he does it pretty well.
Now, with Alvarez, what's his best weapon, do you feel, Lovemore?
Alvarez is very elusive, like I said. He's got great hand speed. He's young. He's a good counter puncher. Those are some of the things that works in his favor. But if you look at it, he's just one gifted young fighter. He's only got one loss, and that loss was to pound for pound the best fighter in the world, Floyd Mayweather. And so I just think Canelo's got a lot happening for him. He's got like I said, he's young. He's got the speed. He's elusive. He's got the natural talent. So he's got a lot happening for him.
Last question. Who wins the fight, Lovemore?
Look, that's a hard one. I think the best man on the night will win. Whoever wants the fight most will win. This is a fight that anybody, any of the two fighters can win.
It's a 50-50 fight?
It's a 50-50 fight.
Good on you, Lovemore. Lovemore, have you got a message for young boxers, mate, and all the fans of Fight News?
Look, my message to young fighters is always, prepare for the future. Boxing is not a long-term career. It's a very, very short-term career. You got to have something to fall back on when you finish, when you're done with your boxing career. And with boxing too, you're not guaranteed that you're gonna make millions of dollars, like the likes of Mayweather or the likes of Pac-Man, or if you do make those millions, invest them properly. But my message is always get an education. Education is
You studied to be a lawyer while you were boxing, traveling around the world. You were attending university.
Look, I can proudly say I'm one of the people that. Practice what I always preached, that you gotta have an education. I managed to obtain 6, university degrees when I was still fighting. Now today, I've got my own law firm, and I'm happy with my life after boxing. Even though officially I'm not retired from boxing, but I'm happy with what I'm doing at the moment. And I think that's what young fighters should look at. Have something to fall back on at the end of your career.
Thanks very much, Lovemore, for your time. All the best, mate.
Thank you, Ray. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
All the best, mate.